I like it's almost a tale of, I don't even want to say 2 games. It's multiple games. We had people call us in the post game yesterday and say, well, you can't pick on the defense. The defense held them down early on. Well, they held down a one-legged quarterback early on, and granted, look, 2 of the Packer touchdowns came off of Trevor Lawrence turnovers pretty deep in the opponent's end, and the fumble was obviously inside the 5. So, I feel like at times Trevor played outstanding football. I feel like at times Trevor Lawrence was shooting his team in the foot.
I'm looking at total QBR because it caught my eye when I pulled up the box score on ESPN this morning, and they had his total QBR at 79. Right, in that game, which is a pretty good grade.
It is.
For a quarterback. So it's like, well, how's that compared to the other games he's played this year? Like, where does it compare to other games? Well, he had a 95 last week. We all knew he had, his best grade in that stat of his career last week. The only other game where he had a higher total QBR was Indianapolis, and it was essentially the same grade. He had an 81 against Indianapolis. He had a 79 on the total QBR yesterday. I think it speaks to, look, the bad plays are glaringly bad, right? And they are the reason, in large part, why they didn't win that football game, or at least it took away their best opportunity to win that football game. Who knows how those drives end up, what happens after that, what Green Bay does after that. But it certainly felt like it was a Packers team that wasn't in a position to drive the whole field very often against the Jaguars yesterday. But they still overcame that. They overcame their top 3 wide receivers not being on the field. Like, there were a lot of things that were good about what happened in the game yesterday, but in the end, none of that matters when you lose 30-27. And the issues that you've been having all season defensively are still the issues you're having. Like, it is very clear right now, to me, the Jags aren't going to win another football game unless they score 35. In the week that they win that game, because the defense is going to let them down. Like, at some point, big moments, I have absolutely no confidence that the defense is going to come through in one of those moments for this football team. And yesterday was just the next example of that kind of thing. I don't know how you give up that play to Malik Willis in that moment of that football game. It's not like we don't know that's what they're going to do. That's obviously what they're going to try, Dave, but they still... This secondary is just not ready for those moments right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing with their backup quarterback in that situation, and all you have to do is just cover. Make him make a tough throw. And if he does it and they catch it and they complete it, okay, great job. They're all still professionals. But we can't just give him a wide open throw. And I could see, I think it was Cisco trying to, chase him. But even if he stayed up and was running full speed, he still was not going to catch him on that pass. That pass was perfectly thrown to him because he was so wide open. And you can't be in the trail situation. You can't try to respond by seeing the guy flash by your face full speed and think, well, I'm going to go catch him now. You got to be anticipating those things. We got to get somewhat of a pass rush. There's a lot of things that we didn't do on that particular drive, that particular play, that cost us the game. And we've got to be better than that. We've got to, at some point, be better than that to be able to come up with these plays at the end of the games for our defense. Offensively, yes, Trevor can't make these mistakes because when he's not making the mistakes, he's playing pretty good, as opposed to the start of the game where he was missing guys kind of left and right, and can we get off to a better start?
Right, I don't understand that, Dave. I mean, he came out and he was all over the place, coming off a day last week where he was so accurate throwing the football. And this is not a case of these guys were necessarily enveloped in coverage. He was just sailing balls.
Missing guys.
Yeah. That one of Dearness Johnson may not have gotten the first down, but he's just trying to hit the back out of the backfield, and he's making him reach way outside of his zone of comfort. And by doing that, he's pulling him away from the line to gain. And even if he catches it, it's probably going to go for a 1-yard loss.
Yeah, we've got to do a better job. When you have your first 15 plays to start the game, we've got to come out with better energy. I think I heard the guys on the drill talking about how we've had so many games where we've had fewer than 20 yards or something like that to start the game in the first quarter, and that's terrible. Especially to start the game. I'm not saying when I played we were always the fastest starting team, but we never went through spells upon spells of just times where we don't do anything to start the game, and not when you have a quarterback and weapons like this. You should be much better. And it's not like those passes to start the game were deep down the field, in the middle, trying guys with double coverage. They were just like little quick outs and slants and little things that you should be able to hit to get yourself going, because once he gets going, he looks really good until he doesn't and has a mistake at some point.
Well, he missed Kirk on the very first drive. That would have been a first down on the second play of the game. They didn't have, they didn't convert a third down until the fourth quarter.
I didn't know if they ever did.
Yeah, they did. Finally,
I was still looking for it.
On that Ingram touchdown drive, Brenton Strange caught one on third down that converted.
How crazy is that? That was like one of the last drives
of the game. Yes.
That's.
I mean, almost unfathomable.
Yeah, third down is huge, man. You got to convert some of those.
Well, and by not doing that, you go 3 and out. They had the interception on the second play, and then they go 3 and out again.
Yeah.
So that's your first 4 drives of the game. You don't even get 12 offensive plays off in your first 4 drives of the game.
Well, I went back and said, let me go back and watch the game. Well, I don't have to go back to the first half and watch it because I already know they just had the ball a handful of times, and they kept getting off the field. So I was like, let me start in the third quarter when the game actually started for our team. Those are upsetting. Those kind of halves are upsetting. And yes, we can give the defense a lot of credit because they allowed the game to stay close. But then we can't just let it stay close and then give them, a freaking throw down the sideline to go score 3 points and win the game.
Look, I know this is like low-level stuff that we should expect, but they did fight in this football game,
did.
right? Like, and so, the couple weeks ago with the narrative being we see a lot of quit in this team.
Yeah.
This team is fragile. They did overcome a bad start.
Yesterday,
Again,
it felt like they just lost an NFL game.
Yes,
right.
That's what yesterday felt like.
And they did it, granted, okay, Jordan Love left the game, but we lost Kirk, BTJ, Gabe Davis went out early. Andre Cisco got hurt. Ezra Cleveland left the game. Sheriff went out. He came back in. I think Darby went out at one point as well. I mean, look, I much would have preferred they win the football game, but I think the reality would be that you won it against a team that was playing with a one-legged quarterback for the first half and a backup that nobody thought much of at all prior to this season. And granted, now they've found a way to game plan around Malik Willis' strengths, and they've won games without Jordan Love in there. So give them credit for doing a heck of a job with their coaching staff. But now the challenge for this team, because they did play hard, right? Okay, that's great. But I think that's like bare minimum of what you should expect every week.
Yeah.
How do you stay mentally in it Kirk looked like he was hurt, right?
Yeah,
we don't know what the diagnosis is going to be. I think BTJ getting an MRI today.
He's getting an MRI, but all the reports on Kirk to this point are I saw broken collarbone. That's what I saw last night, and he's out for the year. Like Christian Kirk's done for 2024.
Come on down, Parker Washington.
Which his direct replacement's not going to hurt him all that much.
No, I like Parker Washington.
But it does hurt him from we know that Trevor's very comfortable with Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly that's going to look like with Parker Washington. We know Christian is one of the best locker room guys they have, right? And they don't have a lot of guys that I circle as really good locker room guys. Like, this is a guy who keeps them all going in the same direction at times. Well, if he's not going to be there on the field, we saw what it looked like last year, the back half of the season when Kirk wasn't available to him.
Right.
Like, everything went, I think they're a team right now that's not necessarily in the same spot they were at the end of last year when Christian Kirk got hurt, and I think Parker's a fine replacement, but like if BTJ was to have to miss a week, they can't replace that.
Yeah, you cannot replace what he does for this offense right now. And look, it is what it is. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. No. Philadelphia Eagles are going to line up licking their chops, and here we go, and you got to play a football game, and that's just the way it goes. But somebody told us, Tony, off the record last week, that if they deal Christian Kirk, the locker room's gone.
Yeah.
Like, Christian Kirk means so much to that locker room. Now, this is not them dealing Christian Kirk, but just taking his presence out of there. But the actual act of, hey, this is one of our leading generals or soldiers or however you want to look at it, that if you're going to ship him out, and he is all about the team. He's all about working hard. And has he had his issues with drops at times this year? Yes. Okay, but like you said earlier, physical mistakes are going to happen, right? it's just a damn shame for Christian Kirk, who's given this team everything he's had since he signed that contract. And, look, again, Gabe Davis out, but they're pretty effective. You're probably going to see a lot more of that 2 tight end look. And if you ever wanted to find out if Elijah Cooks or Joshua Cephas can really play in the National Football League, here's your opportunity, because the depth chart completely got decimated. So
keep throwing it to Evan Ingram.
Well, man, what you want to talk
Are
about?
you serious?
Evan Ingram could have done a 360 jackhammer throw. I mean, he was up.
I had to rewind that playback, and I called the whole family in there to the living room and said, "You guys, look at this pass here and tell me how this is complete." There's 3 guys back there waiting for the ball. Trevor lets it go, and I'm like, "Oh man!" And he goes up and just mosses everybody.
I don't know if you saw the Sunday Night Football pregame, but obviously with San Fran playing Dallas, they go back to the catch with Dwight Clark in the early 80s, right? And that one, the back line of the end zone. And he jumps up and catches it. I'm like, Ingram's catch is so much better than that. Now, the circumstances and the magnitude were huge, but in terms of physical degree of difficulty, oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
What a play by Evan Ingram. He was our Jaguar Radio Network player of the game. Would have been unanimous, but we didn't want to take the vote out of Freddie's hands, so I gave like a courtesy vote to Brenton Strange, who I thought played very well yesterday. Caught all 5 targets, and he runs like a man
hard.
possessed, brother. I mean, we need more of that.
That's that confidence coming into him right now.
Starting to.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is dirty. That is dirty right there. Just that is appropriate yet dirty right now. I did notice we moved ahead of Cleveland in the pecking order yesterday. So thanks, Jameis.
Who's looking, though?
Thanks, Jameis. But we're not talking about it, but we're all aware of that this is probably not going to end well for the 2024 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.